Well, welcome. The SAVE Foundation, I always like to start the presentation off by telling you what that acronym means. The acronym for SAVE is Social Action and Virtue Education. And so we created that foundation about 2 years ago. So I also like to kind of give the history of how it started. As some of you have already heard, Holy Trinity in St. Anne was one of our pilot schools. So when we were in year 4 or year 5, we had a group of teachers and a group of parents who realized that this is something that we want to share. We don't want to just keep it in our school, and we really want to be able to get out to the families, the parish, and the community, and whoever this message needs to be brought to. So that's when we were able to partner with Catholic Charities called Catholic Campaign for Human Development, and we found that our mission for this type of advocacy work was in line with theirs. And so we were able to get our first local funding for that. And so with this nonprofit, we've been able to communicate in different ways in different groups to really spread VBRD. So one of the first things we did with our grant program was to create more of the education part. So as you all met yesterday, Frida, who is from the International Institute for Restorative Practices, we wanted to create a resource hub here in St. Louis so that part of our mission statement is with low-income families, so that low-income schools that couldn't send their professionals to get training in restorative practices in other areas of the country, or low-income individuals may be able to take the on-site portion of these online classes here in St. Louis. And so as you heard, in addition to Lynn's master's, that also allowed her to get her certification in this. So now Lynn can actually teach restorative practices here in St. Louis as a like little hub for all of us to have that resource. In the next year, this current year, we've just finished. I'll be trained. Margaret Ollie from Holy Trinity will be trained to also provide this resource for everyone. So my next question that most people usually ask me is, well, what would be the benefit of having like a SAVE Foundation, or the SAVE Foundation of Kansas, the SAVE Foundation of Indianapolis, right? So the benefit is to have that advocacy outreach to get VBRD and the message of VBRD into whatever program that it may need to be. So my best example, I left for a little bit yesterday to have a meeting in reference to faith. Those from St. Louis may have known that last year Beyond Sunday did fund this particular program, Faith Alive in the Home. So the SAVE Foundation works in that advocacy role, in the idea that VBRD is now an integral part of that program. So people who are trained to be facilitators that go into the home already have that VBRD language. The circle process is part of their training. They go in and they teach virtue education to these parents and young children. So they already come with the language before they even enter your school. And if the SAVE Foundation is there to do that work, right? So it's great. That's just the best example, but we've also been able to outreach in many other ways through the Catholic Campaign for Human Development. They've allowed us to be the representative at the World Meeting of Popular Movements. That was last year. I don't know if you've heard of that. That was the one in the United States out in California, but those have actually come directly from the Pope, and there's been 2 more, I know for sure, in Rome and 1 in South America. And so the idea that VBRD and this process may be part of a World Meeting of Popular Movements here in Missouri, and the idea that our message and these things that work so well and that we all advocate for are part of all of that. So I did bad about my time last time. I just wanted to explain a little bit today about the ways that we could, like something like this could communicate to you and what would be needed in your school, but also the resource that the SAVE Foundation is now in case anyone would like to further their graduate education. We have that opportunity to serve. We've not only been able to outreach in the education type field, but most recently we've presented to CPP. So here in St. Louis, you might know them best through Youth in Need in St. Charles, and that's one of the organizations that they subcontract with the foster care system. So hopefully restorative practices would also be used and taught in the circle process, and possibly may even be part of foster homes in the future if we're able to set up this training officially. So we presented to them most recently. But here's just some of the resources and information if you're interested, and I guess any questions that you might have.